My dad didn't have no car. He was a farmer. Since my dad was a farmer and everything, we moved around a lot because crops didn't make too much, and back then government was cutting down the acreage. We would run into places where there was no well. You know, there would be a well, but it would go dry and stuff like that, you know, so we moved around a lot. That's when I had to learn how to cook. I was just about 10 years old. But anyway, I would fry meat, you know, if we had meat, you know, I had to cook and make bread. And after my sister and my brother kind of moved away and everything, well, I had to help Daddy since he was, you know, farming and everything. And I used to follow him around a lot. And he'd say, well, we're going to hunt squirrel coming back home. I said, okay. So, you know, he'd say, if the dog chased a squirrel up in a tree, he'd say, go over there and stand on that side. And I said, okay. So I walk over there. When I walk over there, the squirrel come this way, you know. So he had 22. And one time we killed, about 11 squirrels. So we was attending Bowling Spring Church. So we cooked all that squirrel and took it up there, you know.
I remember my grandma and all of them, and even my dad and them, whenever they put that worm on that hook, they'd always spit on it, and they say, oh, you do that so you can catch fish, you know, that's what they done, all, you know. And when I seen the, you know, going to throw it, I said, why don't you try spitting on it, you know.
They'd go catfishing, and they would catch a big old catfish and bring it to my grandma's house, and they would stay up half the night skinning that catfish. I mean, they were great big catfish. You could eat off of them for days, I suppose. But she used to let me go and watch her do things like that. And sometimes I sit and think about the old days like that, and remember the things that I learned from my grandmother.
Our family lived off the land too. I remember Dad used to get quail and rabbits, squirrels, and you know, that's how they provided the meat for over the winter, whatever. And our family are all Christians, and they always taught us to go to church. We were always a close-knit family, and that was one of the most important things in our lives.
My grandmother, well, I called her Mom because she raised me, and in the kitchen, she was always humming a Choctaw hymn. She was always, whatever she was doing, she was humming a tune. And my dad always come in and messed her up because he thought he was a bass singer. I learned all that Choctaw part from my parents. And I'll be honest, we never went hungry. We were happy. We had a very happy family when I was growing up. Religious family, Christian family.
The purpose of this year's expedition is to explore and identify cultural resources, meaning artifacts and archaeological sites on the Koniawa Preserve here, which we believe is a part of the Chickasaw village or town of Falacha. One particular type of archaeological feature that we would be most excited to find are referred to as midden pits or trash pits. And these are large, maybe 10-foot diameter, basin-shaped pits that Chickasaw ancestors dug initially to acquire the clay that they needed to make the daub or plaster, which was a clay, grass, and water mixture that they would coat their winter houses with. Eventually, these pits would be filled in with household rubbish, such as food bones, broken pottery, ashes from the hearth, sometimes even broken fragments of European trade items. And so these trash pits are like a time capsule into the economic lives of Chickasaws that lived here as many as 300 or 400 years ago. And this year we've had the special added benefit of the presence of a group of elders that came here to the site, most of them for the first time, and experienced what the landscape and environmental setting of the ancient town of Fala Cha'a is and was. They also conveyed cultural information and stories to the younger Chickasaw Explorers here, which is a form of cultural reconnection and cultural continuity that we really want to foster, because in this day and age, it can sometimes be difficult to maintain Chickasaw cultural identity for young people with so many other forces begging for our attention.
It's very moving to think that this is where my ancestors resided, this is where they come from. And so it's almost like coming home. I don't know how else to explain it than that. But it's a very moving experience for me.
It's important that we as Chickasaw and Native people alone listen to the elders, listen to what they have to say about anything. It could be a life lesson that they're telling you or just a funny story to get you laughing, but I feel like it's very important that they were asked to be a part of this.
Growing up, I did always respect our Native elders, and I'm glad that they're here so we can learn from their experience, because I'm sure it is something that they thought of when they were my age, and now they're here and they get to learn about this all over again and teach the next generation. Jesus be Lord, Piato Badilit, Vala Matanito,
Family gathering, church gatherings, all these things, we get close. We get close. When we are at home, communicate as we should, as it was intended for us. And that's when we start growing again in our family. They start learning from us. This one young man was playing under the table one day as we speak in Chickasaw. He didn't feel like, he wasn't paying attention at all. But when we started counting, Chaffa, Toglo, he was under the table counting right along with us. So he's hearing everything we said, even though we thought he might have been. So when you're speaking at home, which means if you can speak Chickasaw, speak it at home. They start learning from us, from ground up.
You know, it's something passed down through all these years. Mom knowed a lot. She'd be 108 right now if she was sitting with us. She knowed a lot. She was there when they couldn't speak their language and couldn't do our dances. Wasn't allowed to do that. So I'm glad to see the ones that kept it going and speaking it. You know, Mama didn't really want to push us that way because she said we need to go with the white ways and learn that stuff so you make it in the world. But I wished I would not pay attention to that, really learn some stuff from them. But that's how it was in the 50s and 60s growing up in Moore.
We'd go down the creek, and of course, first thing I did is get in the water. But my brother and sister always had to build the fire, get the water boiling, and then my mother would wash clothes, and I got to swim all day. I thought, what a life. And I didn't even think about the luxury of getting to swim all day when my oldest sister and brother, and of course my oldest sister would help have washed the clothes. And when they'd get the fire going, my mother would always put on a pot of pinto beans, and I used to think, oh, the smell of those beans. Oh, that was always so wonderful. And I was always asking, can I have some beans? They've only been on 10 minutes, you know, and I'm wanting these pinto beans so bad. I look back now and think about what a heritage.
What little knowledge I have, I would like to tell the young people, you know. I mean, we're going to just live once in our lifetime, and to them, they seen it for the first time. It's just like you, and they seen something, they'll tell you about it. You seen something, you tell them about it, and we both know, we share, and that's what the world should be.
Well, right now we're about a quarter mile from our original site with the cabin and such, where we're just kind of doing archaeological digs, trying to find Chickasaw artifacts, evidence of residence or migration or locations of places that they might have lived. And right now we're just sweeping this other potential site and seeing if they correspond with what we think. It'd be cool to find arrowheads. It'd be cool to find really good intact pottery that kind of has Chickasaw pottery techniques that are attributed to it. And it'd be cool to find some animal bones.
Like not down there, but these armadillos excavated a Wilson Plain pottery sherd, Chickasaw pottery Ashofa pot from roughly 1700 AD.
We know from historic documents, we know from kind of bigger picture archaeological projects that this location was most likely the place where a Chickasaw village was located in the early 1700s. So one of the earliest villages in this part of the homeland. And what we don't know is, what we haven't had before, is any kind of professional archaeological research to take place specifically in this area. So the explorers are doing the very first scientific archaeological research in this area.
The Chickasaw and Kana Foundation purchased this property almost 10 years ago in order to preserve another part of the Koniawa settlements. The old Natchez Trace, the main road of the pre-removal era through this area, actually ran right across this hill. And that adds to the significance of this site. And it's actually been said by some of the early observers from Carolina that this town, Fala Cha'a, was the mother town of the Chickasaws, meaning that it was the town which the other towns budded off from or broke away from to become their own towns. And so sometimes these adoptions of tribal refugee segments are identifiable through archaeology because of the different pottery types, the decorated traditional pottery types that different tribes made when they were separated by large geographic areas, could be quite different. And then when those pottery types show up here on this Chickasaw town site, we know that those people were either present in a visit or perhaps in residing here. So these are some of the questions and answers that result from archaeological investigations.
So we're using these kind of multiple survey methods to try to figure out where artifacts are located, which would indicate where people were living in the past. So right now we've got folks that are doing mapping, we've got folks that are doing excavation, we've got folks that are doing screening. Yesterday they were doing survey, and we'll sort of rotate folks through different tasks so they get exposed and get experience with kind of doing everything that's a part of the excavation.
Heck yeah. Ooh.
1820s.
Gotta clean it off. Guys, we got a nail.
It can be really difficult to date these because they have been used at nearly every point in American history. They're extremely common in the eastern United States in sites with European contact and European settlement, and a lot to do with finding them in midden pits like that is that oftentimes they were broken in the process of use. Good cabins built with good nails would have been burned down for the nails. So these nails here are indicative of a long settlement in the area by Anglos.
So far we have found a pretty good amount of Chickasaw pottery. We found some of those nails, some of those cut nails that indicate an occupation during the 19th century.
All right, got a punctated applique fillet, the Chickasaw hallmark on flared rim jars. It's a strip of clay that was appliqued to the jar rim exterior and then punctated with a tool to make it look like a twisted cord tied around the vessel rim to hang over the fire.
We did find a very sizable clay pot fixture that was about the size of my palm. That was like the biggest piece we found, and that was just exciting. You got some plow scars in it.
I wouldn't call it burnished. It looks like a ridge. Yeah, that's glass and then some kind of glaze.
We're going to pull that piece up too, bud. All right, we'll draw on the other ones. We're going to go ahead and snatch them out so we can go back to...
We found a lot of bones, and I think bones are really, really cool. But for cultural findings, we're definitely finding a lot of pottery pieces, which is really cool, a lot of whiteware.
I think just being in the group setting and getting to learn all this knowledge together, and like even those people that are new, they get to see it for the first time, and I think it's just a great experience to do as a group.
I feel like we have a really good group this year of explorers. I feel like I've made new friends, and I feel like it's a really good group.
A good landform to fan out into our line of battle, and we could then proceed.
I am really struck by the diversity of materials that we found in those two very small excavation units. We'll do kind of this basic level analysis within the lab, and then we'll prepare all this stuff to be stored long term. And ultimately, after the initial kind of reporting and analysis is done, all of this stuff will be transferred to Chickasaw Nation.
The most culturally significant experience. It was probably the first night that we got there, and we got to fellowship with our elders. They came and They prayed with us and they sang songs with us and danced with us. So that was really meaningful to me.
Getting to feel that kind of sense of community, like something our ancestors would have felt, was really powerful.
I believe that the elders' blessing really did make a difference, and while we were out there, it was beautiful and gorgeous, and I really think that something, whether it be our people or our elders, wanted us to experience the land in the best possible way.
Having all of them speak those words of encouragement to us, I haven't felt anything like that before or since.
So that was really meaningful to me, and it helped me to feel comfortable there, almost like I was at home.
And young and old does go together, because they're going to tell you in their way, and we're going to be telling them what we seen or found. And we just share, even our language is still the same. And they were friendly young people. And when we was going to leave and they was going to stay, you know, it kind of touched my heart. It was just like I was leaving a child behind. But love has a lot to do with this. We have to do things what we love to do. And sharing stories, we love to tell stories so that they will know. And I know they had to stay there one more week after we left, but we just enjoy being together.
Spirits here were strong. I felt the connection. It's like we've been waiting. The spirits, like we were saying, we've been waiting for you.
Coming back is like a feeling of coming home. We were talking last night about as we were entering the area, it was just a feeling of coming home.
I think our ancestors would be so proud, even though they had hard times and never got to enjoy the kind of life we are as Chickasaws today. I think they would be happy for us.
She'd get the wagon all ready because didn't have a car. And I was probably about 6 or 7 years old or something like that, you know, I was young. And I know that she'd make a pallet back there in the wagon for me, because I guess she knew that I was going to be sleeping. And I'd go with her to Allen in the wagon, and I'd sleep and, you know, and talk to her. And, you know, I guess I like to talk, so. And all Chickasaw, because I didn't know how to talk English, you know.
At church, when I was small, that's all they sang, Choctaw hymn. There was no English. We didn't even have songbooks in English. Maybe 4 or 5 songs, and it seemed like they were the longest songs sometimes. You lay down, when I was about 5 years old, I guess, and I'd go in there and go to sleep. They'd put me to sleep. Seemed like I'd wake up, and they still seemed like singing the same song. But praise the Lord, I'm a song leader at our church today, both Choctaw and English.
Easter was every day with me. I was one that had to go hunt the eggs. But I had to go into the barn, up in the hayloft, and chicken house. Mama say, I heard a chicken cackling over here in this corner. And I was about 8 years old. I'd crawl under there, feeling for those eggs. Didn't think about snakes, like I say. Today, you can't make me get up and do that.